YouTube, welcome to our garage. We're here, we're doing some winter refresh on our 2010 Porsche 911 GT3. It's a 997.2 that I'm struggling to open the package of these parts. Today,
good start.
As always, today we're going to be working on some function first shift cable improvements. We are also planning on doing the function first shift right shifter rebuild. The 997.2 has a special gear shift. It's just one of the better ones of the stock units. So we decided not to do the numeric cables and shifter, and we decided we were going to go this route. So today we're going to get into these cable ends first. We're kind of laying the parts out for you guys here. These are what we're going to be replacing the ends of the shifter cables with. I'm not a huge fan of these. I like the idea of it. I am not a super fan of the execution. I don't like the way there's like no countersinking on these bolts, but I think of the options that we have, it's probably the best. I decided against the numeric because I personally don't really like NVH in the car as much as I can avoid it, and these retain the stock cable. Our cables seem to be in good shape, and they have the stock insulation. And there's a boot, I believe you have to cut if you want to do the numeric stuff, and I just didn't want to get into cutting. So I thought this would retain the most stock parts and be the most reversible over time and the most straightforward. This car is not particularly great at shifting. It's one of my least favorite transmissions, even though people rave about it. We've had this car for 3 years. It's not my favorite. I had a G50 911. That thing was butter. Had 944s in the past. Those were amazing. This thing is just a little bit clunky, a little bit vague. We're hoping to tune some of that up. When we get under the car, we'll show you some of the slop that's just inherent to the cable ends. And hopefully with these, and we just had the gearbox out and sent to Copens in Athens, Ohio. So he's one of the experts on these things. So hopefully with some fresh synchros and some fresh cable ends and a shifter rebuild, this thing will be ready to rock and roll. So just a quick look at these guys before we dive under the car. There's going to be a ball end on the gearbox, and this is going to replace the center of the cable end. So we will sandwich the cable like so after we remove the original guts from it, and we'll fasten this with these glorious fasteners. And then this thing should slide over the ball end on the gearbox and be retained by cotter pins. Again, not my favorite thing, but if it stays on there and it feels good, I'm totally fine with it. All right, we're joining ourselves here under the vehicle. We already have these shift cables loose because we actually just had the transmission out, and we're still doing our reinstall here. But these are the offending cable ends, and these are the ball ends from the gearbox where they popped off of. Just some side pressure gets those things off. And then I wasn't even intending to do much with these because this car has only got 30,000 miles on it. But when we were shifting under the car,
this one in particular seems like it's had seen better days.
I don't know how much of this is the way they were, but this center portion is rubber, and watching this thing work was horrifying. So it was like, well, no wonder I don't like the way this car shifts and that it feels vague. So I was like, we definitely have to do something. So that's how we ended up here. This is the issue. The primary issue that we're trying to solve is this looseness here, and hopefully, I believe these cars are still going to shift notchy. It's going to be like that rifle bolt action kind of feeling, but just some of that vagueness and like maybe the gates aren't super clear would be nice to clean up. Now, as far as getting these things apart, these are not designed to be taken apart, and they will be broken. There is no going back. So what I've seen on some other videos is people take a folding razor knife, something like this, and they cut in this area, cut the top edge of the semicircle off, and then fold this thing out. I'm not super excited about that, so we're going to very carefully try to use a cutoff wheel. This may not be the best idea either, so we'll probably get started on this off camera and then collect ourselves after we've destroyed everything here. So
if we were more prepared, we'd have a Dremel.
Yeah. We've started to make some of this cut here using the air grinder with all the precision that a job like this demands. We've clearly made some progress. we want to be really careful not to damage this darker yellow part because we're going to need that. It needs to stay intact, and we're just going after this the white portion here. Okay. That sucks. All right, I'm going to go cut it a little bit more if you want to.
I can hold it if you want.
I think it's okay. And I'm really just trying to get a good notch in this thing, and then hopefully it'll just break off. Not really looking to cut all the way through.
Well, it's still pretty solid.
Yeah, maybe some pliers in there. It should be.
Okay.
So we had some success here with our cut. Really just trying to focus on the center here, again, to stay away from the darker yellow portion. We got this clear.
Is that enough?
Hopefully he's supposed to just tip out.
Cool.
Awesome.
There you go.
So again, this is our offending soft rubber. I don't know why this is in a shifter other than for NVH. And this is exactly what we hoped for here, this open loop. And again, with no damage to the dark yellow. Starting from the beginning of this cut here, again, we're going to try to be careful with hands and plastic and all that good stuff.
Down to 70.
Okay, I think we're going to be able to bend that over with the pliers.
That one seems like it went a little better.
Yeah, I think you can see why they were really looking for the outside edge here because it's got some strength in the middle, but again, I'm just trying to stay away from the outside edges for myself because I don't want to damage the cable end. Let's see myself looking like an infant here bending this thing.
Cool. There you go, maybe.
Yeah, the more we cut, the easier this is, but the more we cut, the more we risk the rest of the cable, so. Yeah, I think this is gonna get us.
I think if you just rip the corner off.
Yeah, I think we might be able to just push it through. This was the cable end that was in a little bit better shape,
Yeah.
so it might put up a little bit more of a fight.
I think you need a
You're
little
saying
bit
you
more.
cut this thing off here?
That sounded like something.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
All right.
there you go.
Ta-da, that's both cable ends free. Right now the shifter is in the car flopping around.
We're good.
Okay, so we've got our function first in links installed over here, just kind of loose fit. As we pointed out off camera, these are actually different shapes. This one is very round and this one has square ends. These pieces are the same. So they actually both fit in here with no trouble. And on this cable, we're going to install.
Because the backing plates are also the same.
Right. So I don't know if this is what they intended, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to install that way and put our fasteners in. And this will be a complete assembly. And then on this one, we will not be able to install this way. So
Did we check if that hardware actually clears?
I think we will make the hardware clear and we will install it this way.
It'll work.
There's no dead space in there or slop that's created by doing this. Again, why is this like this? This is very ugly.
Those things did snap in there really nicely, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. They got these clearances nice. I think this will do the job. This is very much a will do the job. Why does it look like this project? It's fine. I mean, I guess it's the parts we deserve. So, yeah, we will go ahead and run these fasteners in. Then we're going to put a dab of grease in here maybe, or on these ball ends. They supplied us some grease, so we'll get these guys lubed up and get everything tightened up, and we'll slide our cotter pins in here, and this end will be basically done. The only remaining thing will be to slide these cables up into their home, and we've seen some things where guys are using larger zip ties to keep these into their home, keep them from popping out in operation, so we will probably go ahead and do that. Zip ties won't look any worse than this, so looking good. Okay, we are going to go ahead and put these capping plates on here. I'm not exactly sure what they call them. I'm going to put just the tiniest little dab of Loctite on them.
Just the tiniest.
Just the tiniest. Probably not going to do anything much for us, but don't really want this thing completely stuck on there forever. We've got a 2mm Allen wrench that we're going to use to tighten these things up.
You got the lock washers on there?
Yep, I preloaded those. Well, the fit and finish on this stuff seems to be pretty nice. It seems like they're going to do the job. It's just the aesthetics that are special.
Yeah, you can't see any of this, though.
I know it's there, and that's enough. It's fine. It'll be fine. I could be wrong. I don't remember seeing any. I don't remember seeing written information. I know that I've done some Googling, and I've watched other people do these repairs. So. Maybe there's some instruction book in this thing, and it's telling us this is completely wrong. But for now,
But it didn't seem to come with instructions.
it didn't
right?
seem to come with
Okay.
instructions.
This is
They
what
probably
we got.
have. I think they have some on their website. We've got our first cable end installed with the fasteners already in there. So we're going to move into our next in-link design here that's got the oval ends. So we'll be able to put the machined ends inside the in-link here. We've got the fasteners are preloaded with their lock washers onto the plate. And once again, we're going to put just the tiniest bit of Loctite on these. I really don't want these things vibrating apart. Again, not that they would if it's properly designed, but the next time these cables come out, they're probably going to be trashed. So this is fine. Permanent installation here is fine.
Hopefully
for us.
never.
Like this
Hopefully
is fine
that's
with like
never.
the fire in the background.
That's right. That's
Everything's
right.
fine. This is fine.
This is fine.
That is in fact what the audience.
Honestly, that's our like philosophy for car working. So
That's right. That's hopefully the audience is right now enjoying that image of the dog and the fire. But yeah, these things. This is a pretty easy project so far. It's been not too bad. This is definitely something that I think that somebody could enjoy on their weekend, trying to tighten up the shifting mechanism a little bit of their GT3 or other Porsche product. I know that the newer cars, the strong suit is definitely not in the shifter mechanism, at least from the factory. They do a lot of things right, but shifting is maybe not one of them. So we're just gonna,
You showing that?
and we'll cut it out.
we have a little bit of like we're fastener shy on this channel.
It's not the fastener. It's the wrong tool for the wrong job.
It's all right.
But as anybody that works on cars knows, like at least half of the car work is
It's-
looking for the right tool,
Right,
using
bolt.
the wrong tool, right bolt, exactly.
We're definitely as a team here working on improving our cleanliness situation.
We have organized today even.
Yeah, some
Slightly.
There would not be any video of me throwing trash directly to the ground today.
No.
No. Definitely not.
We just cracked open the lubricant.
Oh. Okay, now we're recording.
We were apologizing, but we weren't apologizing on
Yes,
camera yet.
it's my bad. This is my first time behind the camera, so I'm learning all this.
Everyone says it's their first time.
Yeah, it's a good excuse for a while.
So I don't have anything better than this, so I'm just going to apply some of their lube that's provided onto the end of their cotter pins here.
How do you know how much to use?
I'm just filling this
Okay.
thing up. I'm just trying to get some in there.
Enough.
Just some.
Plus now the pin will be nice and lubed.
Yeah, I'm going to wipe that off. I'm just going to try to track some in there. We're just trying to pre-fill these a little bit, and then we will apply.
Whoa. Anyway.
Anyway.
First time still.
Earthquake here, mostly.
Ohio earthquake.
This is going off the rails.
Yeah, that's right. So then we'll get the camera pointed this other way up here at our balls.
Gonna lubricate your balls some?
We were going to lubricate these guys.
Balls.
You want, I have gloves on.
Yeah, it's fine. We all have gloves on. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and preload these guys with some of the included grease also. And then Dan has been itching to put these cables up in their brackets.
Look how excited he is right now. He's been waiting all day.
We have had quite a consternation as to whether these would want to go into their clips up here first or onto the balls. We've decided.
So we did lube our balls.
We've
up here.
decided
Yes.
that Dan is going to push them home
I?
Yes.
first. Struggle intensifies.
Oh yeah, that's not retained. No, it's kind of retained.
Yeah. That's what he's for.
Seems like a zip tie could help. And then he should just slap
You
on
think
there.
he's just going to pop?
Oh. Does
Yeah,
he pop?
yeah, he's got a metal ring inside of him, so he's going to pop. Pop.
There we go.
Goes the
That's a
weasel.
nice pop.
Even without the pins, that seems pretty secure.
Oh yeah, and look at how much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
there's
really good.
there is none of that rubber slop. I wish we would have got a good image of it
Before,
but like if you can just do it with your fingers, hand like off in space, like the thing
Yeah.
is just not very precise.
This one. It's good that there's lots of room to work with here. There we go. And
Pop. All right.
Hopefully you can hear it, but it's a very satisfying pop.
Yes, that's why we
Goes the
we
shit.
invested in our
We
in these
did in our 80.
DJI
Yeah.
microphones, so hopefully that's coming through as a nice crisp sound for you
then,
guys at
so
home.
those pins just go in there and get folded over.
That's the
is
plan.
that-
Here, take some pins, Daniel.
Yeah. Did you clean your one off?
I did.
I'm going to get really strong arms doing this.
It's a shame that nobody makes something that holds that.
So these pins are in here. We're gonna have those in, and then,
that.
oh man, Dan even did that the right way for the camera. Mine are, I'm gonna have to go back in a minute and bend those.
I don't know.
You're fine. Get your top one in, and then we'll.
If you
call
put
it.
them in this way, they can't fall out if they somehow got unbent.
That's right.
Don't know how that would ever happen, but we're gonna get a tool for that.
Yeah,
it
that's
turns
right.
out that actually kind
And
of
see if we can get a shot looking this way at these parts. So they, I think my main complaint about them is that they don't look OEM, but they do look like they're nice. And again, hopefully they will have us shifting here a little bit more accurately. But yeah, not a bad little install. Pretty easy. 3 idiots under a lift
did-
can do
if-
this in probably 35 minutes.
If you were doing it from scratch, you'd have to rip off the under trays first.
Oh yeah, we did already have the under trays off because, like I said earlier, we did have the transmission out. But yeah, with the under trays off, this is not a bad job. So thanks for following us along here. We'll bend these things over, and then we'll throw some zip ties on in the most elegant OEM fashion as possible while we make fun of ourselves. And we'll get some still images at the end to show you how this is all wrapped up. And then we will move on to the shifter mechanism and those updates. So awesome. Thanks for following along.
So the guys put me in here for first impressions. I would say that actually putting it into gear feels a lot better. It's a little bit more certain of itself, which is really, really nice. I think finding what gear you're going into is a little bit easier, which is also nice. What we were hoping would happen is that if it was in gear, that it wouldn't have a lot of this like side-to-side slop. Unfortunately, it still does, and it's very noticeable to all three of us. So We will continue with the next part of the kit, which we will be showing in the next video, but it's definitely a lot more satisfying to put it into gear. So we're in the right direction, going in the right direction.